Have you ever wondered what it would be like if the forces of good and evil weren't so clearly defined? If the very idea of rebellion was something to be questioned, something with the potential for both incredible progress and devastating consequences? Well, that's exactly the territory we're diving into today. Hello, book lovers, and welcome to A's Book Talk. Today, we're re-exploring a work of satirical genius that turns conventional morality on its head, Revolt of the Angles by Anatole France. Anatole France, born Anatole France Thibault, was a towering figure in French literature, known for his wit, skepticism, and humanism. Living from 1844 to 1924, he witnessed immense social and political upheaval in France, including the Franco-Prussian War and the rise of socialist ideologies. This turbulent backdrop profoundly shaped his writing, imbuing it with a critical eye towards established institutions and a deep empathy for the human condition. He wasn't afraid to challenge conventional wisdom, and his sharp, elegant prose made him one of the most celebrated authors of his time, culminating in the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1921. Revolt of the Angles, published in 1914, is perhaps the most pointed expression of his skepticism. The story begins in modern-day Paris, focusing on the quiet life of Marist Esparvieu, a scholar and book collector, who is completely unaware that his life is about to be turned upside down. His existence is disrupted by the gradual revelation that his antique books are being mysteriously reorganized, a task being undertaken by his guardian angel, Arcade. Arcade, tired of the boredom of his celestial duties, has become embroiled in a plot orchestrated by the fallen angel Lucifer. Lucifer, exiled from heaven for his rebellion, now seeks to return and overthrow the tyrannical rule of Yaldabaoth, the god of the Old Testament. Lucifer believes that by gathering a powerful army of angels, he can finally win the war that began ages ago. The book follows Arcade as he delves deeper into the world of the fallen angels. He discovers that they are not the purely evil beings depicted in religious dogma. Instead, they are complex individuals with their own grievances and desires for freedom. They live in disguise amongst humans, engaging in philosophical discussions, scientific pursuits, and even revolutionary politics. As Lucifer prepares for his grand assault on heaven, Arcade becomes increasingly disillusioned with the idea of a violent revolution. He observes the earthly consequences of war, the suffering and destruction it causes, and begins to question whether replacing one tyrannical ruler with another will truly bring about lasting peace and justice. The novel builds to a climax as Lucifer's forces gather for their attack. However, at the last moment, Arcade has a profound realization. He understands that true liberation does not come from overthrowing a physical ruler, but from achieving inner freedom and enlightenment. He realizes that the very act of fighting to replace Yaldabaoth would simply perpetuate the cycle of oppression and violence. Lucifer himself comes to a similar conclusion, deciding at the last moment to not continue with the revolt. He understands that even if he replaced God, he would become just like him in time. Lucifer argues that even if they could win, they would just be replicating the flawed system they sought to overthrow, becoming just as tyrannical and oppressive as the god they aimed to depose. The novel suggests that the true revolution lies not in a change of power, but a transformation of consciousness. The angels ultimately decide that the battle for heaven is not worth fighting. The war is called off and the angels return to their lives on earth, understanding that the true fight is for enlightenment and freedom within themselves. So, what are the key takeaways from this thought-provoking satire? Firstly, Revolt of the Angles challenges us to question authority, but it also cautions against blindly embracing rebellion without considering the consequences. It suggests that true progress requires a deeper understanding of the systems we seek to change and a commitment to transforming ourselves in the process. Secondly, the novel explores the complexities of good and evil, blurring the lines between the two. It reminds us that even those deemed evil may have legitimate grievances, and that the pursuit of power can corrupt even the noblest intentions. Finally, Revolt of the Angles emphasizes the importance of individual freedom and self-awareness. It suggests that true liberation comes not from external forces, but from within, from our ability to think critically, question assumptions, and strive for enlightenment. It is only through this internal revolution that we can hope to create a better world. The book encourages us to seek our own paths to understanding, rather than blindly following preset notions of good and evil. Revolt of the Angles is a richly layered and intellectually stimulating novel that will leave you pondering the nature of power, freedom, and the eternal struggle between good and evil. It's a reminder that true revolution starts within. That's all for today's book talk. If you enjoyed this exploration of Anatole France's Revolt of the Angles, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Ace Book Talk for more classic literature discussions. Let me know in the comments what books you'd like me to cover next. Until then, happy reading.